At a first glance, Gorilla Tag VR is a very simple game. To a lot of people, Gorilla Tag is just a simple social game of tag. To others, it may be more competitive, but regardless of your viewpoint on the game, there's likely something you don't know about it. That's why I've created this video about Gorilla Tag using this iceberg chart. Enjoy. And just before the video starts, I'd like to say that this video idea was inspired by Genji's video, but the link to his video will be in the description. The Gorilla Tag is a very content-driven game, so a lot of what Gorilla Tag's content creators put out on the internet dictates a lot of what happens in-game. There's a few main MetaQuest headsets that people play on, these being the Quest 2, the Quest 3, and the Quest 3S. The reason the Quest 1 was not mentioned is that Gorilla Tag became too hard for the Quest 1 to run, so it is now no longer supported. MetaQuests are also the main headsets that people playing on, but with it being the most popular for this game. If you play Gorilla Tag, there's a very good chance that you have heard of J-Man Curly. He's one of the first players of the game and is known for being very entertaining. He's probably the reason that Gorilla Tag is so popular, but for many people he is how they have heard of the game, from watching his videos and wanting to play the game. He is also very well known for being funny.
Look at me, I'm VMT.
He is also just a very down-to-earth guy that's fun to watch, from his form of content also becoming very popular, with the game on one half of the screen and him on the other. Lemming is another pretty big name in Gorilla Tag. Now this is because he is the creator of the game. He also made the movement code open source on GitHub, and so people can learn from him. But this shows that he cares about other games and fan-made content. The Gorilla Tag Forest is the first map that the player ever sees. It is the spawn point, it's even right outside the stump. The forest is Gorilla Tag's most popular and competitive map, also where all scrims happen, and it is the main face of Gorilla Tag. The Gorilla Tag Mountains map has always been very divided, with some people who love it and some people who hate it. The Mountains map has always had a bad reputation about its players not having skill, but I personally don't agree with this. And usually the reason people say this is because of the fact that the map is easier, which I don't think is fair. A ground is a Gorilla Tag playstyle. In order to be a good ground player, you have to have a few good skills. First of all, you have to be able to run quickly on the ground to escape your opponents, and you also need to have creative jukes that people won't fall for. Unfortunately, ground isn't very common for playstyles anymore because of the way that the lava boost works, which makes it very difficult to run. It's honestly not that surprising that Gorilla Tag is such a toxic game. To this point, it's basically what it's known for. But just off of what the game is about, it makes a lot of sense that there's a lot of toxicity. It's a very competitive atmosphere, and so a lot of players get mad at it and then have to take that out on other players.
Bro, you look like a discombobulated hedgehog. Bro, you thought you were Sonic the Hedgehog, bro, when you bumped into a car and then you pawned. Bro, I know you not talking, bro. You throw up that game, people will call you Fruity Pebble. Bro, I know you dusty, bro. You'll start talking with your Christmas, bro. Like, exactly, bro.
Beach is one of Gorilla Tag's most popular maps for, I would say, a good reason. The mechanics are absolutely awesome in terms of the ropes and zip lines, and I just think it's a great addition to Gorilla Tag. and a lot of the forest skills to apply to beach map. I'll just put beach at an A tier map. To a lot of players, walls has always been a very impressive feat, and usually, if you can do walls well, you're usually considered a very good player. But it being impressive aside, walls is just a great Gorilla Tag mechanic that's very effective, and that's usually the reason why it's very popular, is just because of how undeniably well it works to escape players. Gorilla Tag jukes were once upon a time a very popular thing. Juking used to be a full-fledged playstyle, and a lot of people became very good at it. People still juke a lot in game today, but there's a lot of jukes that don't work anymore because everyone is used to them. Gorilla Tag's city map started as what was called Hat Room, is this room outside of the stump, kind of where city is today. But it was a little room inside of stump of where you would find cosmetics. This later turned into the city map with a later update. There's soon to be another update in about 3 days, the time of recording.
Dude, this update is gonna change Gorilla Tag forever.
Gorilla Tag long jumps were and still are very popular, and from a competitive standpoint, the likely reason for this is because of how effective they are against players in game. For example, because of how much a distance they cover, it's very difficult to cut them off. Gorilla Tag Canyons is iconic. It's the 4th ever map added to the game. Canyons is very universally recognized for being iconic, in the sense that in a later update it received a revamp which added the ropes and zip lines that we have in a lot of other maps like Beach and Swamp Map. Believe it or not, Reddit is where it all started for Gorilla Tag. Lemming made a post on r/Oculus Quest about the prototype for the Gorilla style locomotion. Lemming's proposal was pretty well accepted, and so he turned it into the game we have today. The Gorilla Tag computer is something that you'll find in every map. It's like the settings page for Gorilla Tag. It's how you change your name, your color, and how you join custom rooms. It's a very important thing in Gorilla Tag, and it was around since day one. There are 2 different versions of the monkey plushie. One is a lava monkey on screen, and the other one is a normal monkey. The monkey plush is a campaign that Gorilla Tag partnered with Makeshift to make a real-life plushie that also grants you an in-game cosmetic. Unfortunately, though, it did cost $20, but to a lot of people it was worth it just because of how cool it is. The Caves is another undeniably iconic map in Gorilla Tag. It was the 2nd ever one in the game, right behind Forest, and it's another very popular one. Caves also has 2 different sections to it. There's the top part, which is caves, and there's the bottom part, which is mines. One of the subcategories of the walls playstyle is slippery walls. Slippery walls is very similar to normal walls, except for the fact that they're slippery. They were added to make it harder to climb outside of the map to enforce fair play in the game. Then, additionally, they also added the red walls because the slippery walls were just totally climbable for a bit. People still climb on them today. There are three main playstyles in the Gorilla Tag, these being ground, branches, and walls. Branches is this category. Branches is one of the main ones by a long shot and is very popular. Almost as popular as walls, I would say. Branching has a wide skill range. In order to be a branch player, the only requirement is you have to play a lot of branches. This is why there are a lot of branch players. There are a lot of people who have perfected it, and a lot of people who just like branches more than walls and ground. There's also a lot of sub playstyles, such as hospital flips, spins, and underbranching. Mines is the second layer of the cave map. A lot of people consider it to be its own map, myself included, even though it's just a continuation of another map. This is also often considered Gorilla Tag's most scary place, with there being a lot of sharp corners and dark spots. This is also the base location for the Gorilla Corporation horror mode. Gorilla Corporation is a very new addition to the Gorilla Tag mines. It's inspired off of A Lethal Company, and it's this horror type of game mode of where you find purple things and you deposit them for in-game money. TTT, which is short for the Tree Trotters, is a Gorilla Tag professional clan composed of a lot of great players, such as TTT Pig, TTT Momentum, TTT Vex, which recently left the team, unfortunately. Many people aspire to TTT and admire their precise gameplay and notoriously fast and controlled branching. And TTT Pig is also their top member in terms of the popularity. The definition of a Gorilla Tag minigame is a game you play in the game that isn't intentionally added by the developer. A good example of this is Monkey on the Shelf, which is the footage in the background right now. These were created a long time ago by people who got bored of infection games, and so they created their own fun games to play with each other. These usually aren't nearly as competitive, which is a good selling point for a lot of newer players. Monkey Blocks is something that a Gorilla Tag added a few months ago. The purpose of it is it's supposed to be very easy to make your own custom environments and different maps. The cool thing about these is that you can make anything you want. A lot of people have made a lot of cool things with them. A scrim in Gorilla Tag is the exact same concept as a lot of scrims in other sports. They're a competitive and fair way to compare the skills of two groups of players, and it's how the GTC or Gorilla Tag competitive figures out which team is better than the other. Gorilla Tag's virtual stump is located inside of the arcade, and the goal of it is for infinite content for the near future. This makes it so Gorilla Tag doesn't need to put as much effort into the game, because with the community making their own creations, then the community can provide for themselves with the occasional Gorilla Tag update. A Gorilla Tag tutorial is the first place the player ever sees. It's a purple environment, and it's supposed to serve as a tutorial level to show the player how they have to move with their hands instead of with the joystick. It's also common for players to find ways to get back into tutorial for the second time. J3VU has not been talked about in Gorilla Tag for a very long time. He was known for doing a lot of things like crashing Gorilla Tag servers, kicking people, normal ghost things, except he was a real person and he was known for hacking a Gorilla Tag a lot. Gorilla Tag ghosts were at one point something kind of cool, but now it's honestly just more of a meme, and if you have ghost in the title of your video, it's just a way that people get clicks on YouTube and TikTok. But usually ghosts nowadays in 2025 are people with mods who want to scare people, so don't let them waste your time, but they used to be kind of cool, I will admit. PCVR is simply when you connect your VR headset to your PC, and so the only difference it makes is that Gorilla Tag is running on your PC, so you still see the game through your VR headset. It's just that it's being ran on more powerful hardware. This causes for a lot of benefits like extra predictions, and so a lot of Steam players get accused of cheating a lot. A Gorilla Tag mod is simply defined as a DLL file that you put in the plugins folder in your BepInEx drive that affects the game. That's all that a mod is. Mods have two categories usually, the bannable ones and the non-bannable ones. I put the non-bannable mods in the mods category and the bannable ones in the cheats category. I don't consider them the same thing. The main difference between a cheat and a mod is that a cheat is a modification that only serves the purpose of enhancing your gameplay or providing a competitive advantage. That's why someone with the camera mod shouldn't get banned for modding, and someone with the mod menu should get banned. An example of a cheat would be a speed boost mod, or long arms, or iStupid's menu, a Shiba GT, or a Violet Free. An example of a mod that shouldn't get you banned is something like the emo mod, which serves no competitive advantage. To me, that's the only core difference. Mosa was a competitive Gorilla Tag professional, even created his own team at some point, which was called BRN. Mosa used to be very good, even though he quit a few months ago. The downfall of him was when he was caught cheating and using a Unity and a Pro Scrim, which is when the GTC shut down his clan. I'm sure if you're watching this video, there's probably a good chance that you know the video game glitches, but in case you don't, what a Gorilla Tag or just any video game glitches is a functionality in the game that isn't intended, such as the Gorilla Tag slip slap in the background footage. The slip slap was when you hit the normal wall and the slippery wall in a special combination, so you flew up higher than was intended. This was later patched as for all of the other glitches in the game. Some of them still remain, such as the texture glitch on the treehouse. While they're around though, glitches are usually pretty fun. I have a video which goes way more in depth about the KID assist, but just generally what it is it's a age restriction implementation, which is supposed to make Gorilla Tag more appropriate for all ages, aka it restricts you from doing a lot of cool things in game if you're under 18, such as talking in game, changing your name, and joining private servers. KID has been associated with a lot of glitches, and it's also a brand new system, so no one knows where all your personal information is going. Overall, no one really trusts KID, and it definitely has the possibility to wipe out a lot of Gorilla Tag's player base. Orion Drift is a spin-off game that features the Gorilla Tag locomotion system, made and funded by anotheraxiom. So it is an official product by their means, but a lot of people say that the game is already doomed and that there's a lot of issues with it, like toxicity and bad moderation.
Someone drop the N-word or trash talk another person for no reason. And here's the worst part. Most of the time, nothing is being done about this. I've heard stories of people reporting this kind of behavior with videos and screenshot proof directly to the mods and nothing happening. These people are in the game, still saying the same stuff, still ruining the experience for everyone else. Meanwhile, I've seen people get banned for something as harmless as grabbing a moderator, just interacting with them in the game, and somehow it gets labeled as inappropriate behavior.
Fadu was a Gorilla Tag content creator who at the very beginning became famous for posting things like challenge videos and update videos. He then got the Fingerpainter in January of 2024. This is when things took a turn, when he started posting videos on another account about some behind the scenes stuff, like him getting kicked out of his own house, for an example.
One video. So that means there was a total of 11 videos on Fadu's alternative channel, where he talked about different things every day which happened in his life. Fadu went from having 100,000 views per video to losing most of that viewer count, losing the Fingerpainter badge as well as having negative things happen in his life. All these videos were privated. One of the videos, named Day 6, got kicked out and called a disappointment. He exclaimed that in this video, but they did kick him out of the house. And then it's quote unquote supposed to be quite weird and concerning for him now. I can't obviously blame everything on the situation he's recently been through, but it's clear to see that Fadu isn't in the right mind space right now.
The Gorilla Tag stick is a cosmetic that symbolizes a moderator being in your lobby. Well, when someone has a stick, that means that when they report someone, it counts as about 20 to 30 people reporting them. That is until very recently, when this purpose of the stick changed to them being what's called a forest guide. A forest guide is just a trusted player, just to show people the way of Gorilla Tag. The goal that the Fingerpainter badge served was to make it and so big YouTubers wouldn't be impersonated in Gorilla Tag, because before the Fingerpainter badge it was very easy to just have your name as a popular YouTuber and convince people that you were them. But now if you sign up for the Fingerpainter program, then eventually you'll get the Fingerpainter badge, so it can verify that you're the YouTuber you claim to be. SREN is a mispronunciation and misspelling of the word siren. SREN was a popular ghost code in Gorilla Tag, and it was known for being able to find almost every ghost in the game in this one code, and so it was a big hotspot for a lot of people to troll and get reactions. And then the code SREN 17 and SREN 18 also served a very similar purpose. The simple definition to what long jumps are in Gorilla Tag is simply when your arms are the full length of the player model. This happens once you're around 5'7" or 5'8", or if you have a big wingspan, your arms might be longer. But a lot of shorter people or younger people all tried to get long arms through various methods, such as cheats or settings. There's not a whole lot to say for this category, but the original player model while a lemming was testing the movement wasn't a gorilla, but was actually a robot. But probably no one who plays this game today actually remembers it. But it's still a pretty cool piece of Gorilla Tag's history. Gorilla Tag 1v1 utilizes all the mechanics of a scrim, but it's only one player versus the other. 1v1s are usually up to 3 rounds, but are sometimes done up to 2 or 5. It just depends on the player. A Apollo was a pretty well-known Gorilla Tag YouTuber back in the day, but recently he quit a Gorilla Tag and a YouTube to pursue college. He's still very looked up to in Gorilla Tag and is known for being over 6'7" and having very long arms. With such an open sandbox of a game, it's not at all a surprise that people like to create their own challenges to do with each other. Some of these include trying to get a world record for something, like fastest time to get from stump to the treehouse, for an example. There's also a lot of people on YouTube who do challenges going from the top of beach down to the top of mountains with a twist, like without touching green or without touching the ground, etc. Regardless, there's a lot of challenges to do in Gorilla Tag. There are two tiers of the Fingerpainter badge, these being the regular Fingerpainter and the Illustrator badge. The Illustrator badge is only given to people who apply a second time, and they have to have exceptionally good content, better than most of the Fingerpainters. Some of these include Elliot and K9, to name a few. The Illustrator has been reportedly way harder to get than the Fingerpainter badge. I don't know if there's a sub requirement though. It's impossible for a standard player to obtain the admin badge without cheating. The admin badge is only given to Lemming and a lot of the other people on the development team. The admin badge is the rarest badge in Gorilla Tag just because of how few people actually have the chance to get it, with the only way to get it being with the development team. So no moderators have it and no players have it. This state is commonly considered Gorilla Tag's most weirdest unsolved mystery, and also one of the scariest days in Gorilla Tag history. The reason why is because every single map in the game was extremely dark and nothing was actually visible. All the maps were incredibly dark except for Swamp and City. Because of the fact that Lemming made the movement code for the game open source, a lot of people have created their own games using the movement mechanics. An example of this is Capuchin. Some of the fan games are very well made. No one actually knows if Lemming supports them or if he wants them gone.
I think it was a joke, or I hope it wasn't. So, very recently I noticed that K9 wasn't responding to anything on Discord, which was a little bit alarming. He does normally take a long time to reply, but not this long. I personally thought it was a little bit odd that he just wasn't responding at all. This is when I later found out he wasn't even responding to anyone. Like, is this guy trying to do an Apollo? Brother, it's already been done. So I did a little bit of research when my friend sent me this video stating that not even Elliot has heard from this guy.
Biscuit VR is one of the most hated Gorilla Tag content creators.
Biscuit VR was a TikToker who took a bit of a turn a few months into his content creation on TikTok. He posted a video saying that he had cancer and also that he was going to have to quit TikTok. Someone did a bit of research on this and found out that he faked cancer, and so he got a lot of negative backlash for this, and he will probably never recover in terms of social media. A Pico is a Gorilla Tag headset that people play on, it having a lot of advantages, like being able to literally to literally being able to change your controller tracking sensitivity. What this does is it makes your controllers shoot incredibly fast, and so it's the same effect as having insanely high predictions. Anything above 20% tracking is considered cheating according to Gorilla Tag's TOS. A Gorilla Tag Jeep check is when someone, usually on Discord, goes through all your Gorilla Tag settings and mods and makes sure that you're not using any undercover cheats and things of that nature. Deep checking has been common because if you fail a deep check, that means you're cheating. Unity is the game engine software that Gorilla Tag was made in, but Unity Explorer is a mod that people download to change things in Gorilla Tag, and is a common cheat. It's what Mosa was found using to manipulate his speed in game, to always have the speed of a lava monkey. It also helps people get any cosmetic, but it's only client side if you do this. A Gorilla Tag clone is the same concept of a Gorilla Tag fan game, or with the same movement, but a clone, or what makes a clone different from a fan game is that it's supposed to be exactly Gorilla Tag, but with their own content. A lot of the times, people just release exact same copies of Gorilla Tag, usually with mods pre-installed, and one he even tried to make money off of, and then got sued by Lemming. Outside of Gorilla Tag, VPNs are a very useful tool. It stands for Virtual Private Network, and it gives you a different IP address, and so you can't be tracked. But where it comes into Gorilla Tag is because when someone gets IP banned, it bans your IP address. But with the VPN, it gives you a different IP address, and so this is how people evade their IP bans. The most common way that people evade their Gorilla Tag bans is by making more accounts. The reason people do this is because when they get banned, a lot of the times they have to cope with the fact that they got banned by still playing Gorilla Tag, and so they do this by making another non-banned account, which will only get you more time being banned. A false ban is when someone gets banned in Gorilla Tag when they didn't do anything wrong. This happens to a lot of professional players who get accused of cheating a lot, myself included, even though I'm not a professional, sadly. Moving on, what you do when you get false banned is you make a Discord appeal, and then they'll review your ban and see if you were banned correctly or not. And if you weren't banned correctly, then they'll unban you. A Gorilla Tag made their Discord server for a few different reasons. First of all, to access a lot of different tools like applying for the Fingerpainter program and also making ban appeals. They also made the Discord server to talk to the developers and to get confirmation on updates. This is also where you appeal your bans. IIDK is a Gorilla Tag cheat developer who makes a lot of things, from the Stupids mod menu to a lot of administrative based mods meant to help, like Too Much Information and a name tag mod. IIDK has had a lot of their mods patched out of the game, such as the IIDK mod menu, and is also one of the most detectable mods in Gorilla Tag, so a lot of people who use it do get banned. The modding Discord server is another officially supported Discord server made by anotheraxiom to make supported mods that are allowed for all players. This was just intended as an official way to have players download good mods. Just as the video is ending, I would just like to say that a thank you to everyone who watched the video, and I appreciate everyone who bared with me to the very end. This video is an accumulation of over 2 weeks of work, and so I hope that this video found its place on your recommended. And so have a good day, and thanks for watching.